At the Capitol, this is a live look. Another round of votes failing in the Senate to reopen the government. We are now in day 4 of the government shutdown, and much uncertainty still remains. The Speaker of the House is now canceling votes for next week as Republicans pressure Senate Democrats to accept their funding bill. After the Senate vote failed for a 4th time, local communities are feeling the impact now. The Washington Monument is closed. The Smithsonian announced it will close on October 12th. And today's planned walk to defeat ALS, a major fundraiser, is canceled. While lawmakers argue over funding, mental health experts say many people are slipping through the cracks.
I like to think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it's this concept of kind of a triangle that goes up in regards to if we can't address our basic needs, such as finances, it's really hard to think about our relationships or self-esteem.
My focus as a federal worker is trying to support, my boss and the members just so they can get things back and running.
Our systems are naturally going to go into a fight, flight, or freeze response when it feels like they're a threat. There is a threat, and this is a threat. This is a threat to a lot of people's livelihoods.
Democrats are demanding Congress extend health care benefits for millions of Americans, while Republicans push to keep voting on a bill passed by the House to reopen the government temporarily at current spending levels. Senators are expected to go home for the weekend, so Monday is likely the earliest the shutdown could end. As the standoff continues, one local lawmaker is putting his own check on the line. Virginia Congressman Suha Subramaniam says he is refusing his salary while many federal workers and contractors face the possibility of missing theirs. Let's bring in the congressman now to share his message and more on the event he is hosting later today. Thank you so much for being with us today. I want to start with your reaction to the lack of progress and how close you think we are to a deal that could end this shutdown.
It's frustrating because I want to be in the Capitol right now. I work weekends too, and I want to be there with my fellow lawmakers hashing out a deal. When you want to stop a shutdown like this, you have to be constantly communicating and figuring out, what each side needs. But right now, the Speaker of the House has decided to not even have people show up next week. And that's frustrating for someone who represents so many federal workers and contractors. And what I put forward and many people have put forth in Congress is a deal that's bipartisan, that's wildly popular with the American people, which is protecting healthcare and protecting federal workers. But right now, what we're seeing is a lack of communication altogether.
Congressman, you are refusing your paycheck during this period. What message do you hope that this sends to your colleagues and to federal workers watching this unfold?
Well, I'm refusing my paycheck, and I also am pushing legislation to make members of Congress not receive pay during shutdowns because federal workers and contractors in Virginia are going without the paycheck, and so should members of Congress. The reality is members of Congress are going to continue these 6-month at a time funding bills and shutdowns as long as they don't hurt personally. And so I want to see members of Congress feel the same pain that federal workers and contractors and our community feels when these shutdowns happen. Otherwise, nothing is going to change.
What specific relief, though, would your bill provide, and how quickly could it take effect?
Yeah, we'll have several measures. So one, I want to make sure that we're protecting healthcare because the reality is people's premiums are going to double or triple starting in January if nothing is done. I also want to stop these DOGE cuts and these firings that are completely unwarranted and illegal. And last time some Democrats voted to continue the government because they wanted to. Thought they got assurances that would stop. Well, it got even worse. And the threats by the administration right now to fire even more people during a shutdown. One, that's illegal, but two, that's not actually fixing this shutdown fight. It's in fact, it seems like it's celebrating a shutdown. And as far as a relief for federal workers and contractors, I want to make sure that federal workers and contractors can dip into their retirement savings without any penalty to them to pay some of the bills during the shutdown. I'm trying to get banks to work flexibly with federal workers during a shutdown since they may have mortgages and that's harder to pay right now during a shutdown. And a lot of these bills, I've got support from the rest of the delegation as well. And contractors go without pay completely. People don't realize that. And so I want them to be able to get back pay when a shutdown ends, just like federal workers do. So there's a lot we're trying to do in the meantime. But certainly the number one thing is I want to end this shutdown. And it's just frustrating to see Congress not do its job. I want to make sure that Congress is passing budgets. Otherwise, we should figure out a way to stop these future shutdowns by making it hurt for members of Congress.
In our last Secretary, you're hosting a town hall today. What are you hearing most from your constituents, and how are you planning to address those concerns as the shutdown continues?
all my constituents are very upset about the shutdown. Certainly, there's the blame game they're seeing in the media, and they're hearing from lawmakers. I've heard from many contractors and federal workers too that they understand why we need to protect healthcare and protect them from these DOGE cuts. So there's some more understanding, I think, this time in this shutdown than in previous shutdowns. But certainly, they're frustrated, and I don't blame them. I'd be frustrated too.
Indeed. Congressman Suha Subramanian, thank you so much for your time and for all you're doing for your constituents and for the nation. Information there on your screen of how you can contact the congressman directly. Thank you. And remember, you can find all the latest updates on the government shutdown and its impacts on Fox Local. Just scan the QR code that you'll see shortly on your screen or visit fox5dc.com for more information. The Democratic nominee in Virginia's Attorney General race is facing bipartisan criticism this morning. Jay Jones sent messages to a former colleague joking about shooting the former Virginia House Speaker. Republican Delegate Carrie Coyner bringing the allegations to light 3 years after the messages were sent to her. The calls to condemn Jones include demands from the Democratic nominees for governor and lieutenant governor. And Jones is responding to the scrutiny for the first time. In a statement, he writes in part, quote, "I take full responsibility for my actions, and I want to issue my deepest apology to Speaker Gilbert and his family. Reading back those words made me sick to my stomach. I'm embarrassed, ashamed, and sorry." Jones is running against the sitting Attorney General, Jason Miyares. Election day is November 4th, but early voting has already gotten underway. I want to take you overseas as the war in Gaza continues. There is now a potential breakthrough in efforts towards a ceasefire. Last night, President Trump told Israel to immediately stop the bombing. Hamas has accepted some elements of a U.S. peace plan meant to end the war in Gaza. The announcement coming just hours after the president issued a Sunday deadline for the militant group. And as Israel prepares to escalate its offensive if Hamas has said no to the deal.
They've got them completely surrounded. They moved close to 1 million people out of Gaza City. So what is going to be left is largely Hamas and those that are supporting Hamas.
Hamas has agreed to give up power and release the remaining Israeli hostages taken in the October 7th attack, but says other points still need to be disclosed among Palestinians. Israel has already accepted the plan, which does not include a two-state solution. Coming up, the search underway for a suspect after a deadly shooting in the district. Details on the other side, plus a manhunt underway in Woodbridge. What we're learning from Prince William County Police.